straightaway. He's now moved ahead of Dylan into 4th position, and Marine now looking to try and get through, but he's got to fight off the racing point of Holzheuer to try and go for a move around the outside. It's going to be enough one for both cars, and Marine squeezes him out as Bartos, the first driver to retire from the race in the McLaren, got shady pulled in second to Marine, just about going into 5th there ahead of Holzheuer. Just getting very racing behind. Racing Point has an opportunity to try and make around the Construction Championship as well, and they're doing a good job at the moment as Matt Yoda speak has retired as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
Not sure what has happened there, but it looks like he's had an incident. And Salim at the back in the Ferrari, he's going along in 14th place at the moment, but Fletcher up into 13th now, Alex.
And it's a virtual safety car I'm seeing on the flashing boards. Virtual safety car for the drivers. They will all have to adhere to the speed limits. We had 2 incidents that lap. I'm not quite sure if you picked up on what happened there, Adam.
No, unfortunately I didn't. I was busy watching the fight between Marine and Holzheuer for 5th and 6th place, and looking through. But yeah, so I mean, on these street circuits, it's going to happen. Drivers are going to have incidents, and unfortunately for Matt Yoda Speak and Bartos, their races ended very, very early. It'll be interesting to see what they say later on in the group chat as to what happened. But as far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, I couldn't see that.
And I think we're back to green flag racing now. Yeah, DRS re-enabled. We're going to go back down the main straight. That was a very brief period. There goes Dylan into the pits, so he was obviously hoping on a longer virtual safety car period, so he's not going to pick up that free pit stop, Adam.
No, and it's going to compromise him towards the end of the race, because he's going to have to pit onto the softer tyres. He's going to have to do 8 laps on those. That's going to be a big ask for him on a track really that is quite abrasive on those softer tyres if you don't use them properly. Of course, you can go longer on the soft tyres, you've seen it in the past, but he's going to have a tall order, especially with overtakes to do as well, because no one else in front of him, except for Tim, is going to have to pit again.
Of course. So that's going to promote Aaron to P2 in his debut race. I've got to say, that's incredibly impressive for the Renault driver, and I think he will be picking up that seat for the final round next time out. Marine doing a good job up in 3rd. He hasn't broken the DRS to Yannick though. There's a yellow flag. Tim's gone into the wall.
Tim's gone off the escape road. He went very, very late into the castle section. He was fighting with Aaron, but he got it all wrong and had to take evasive action to avoid smacking it, just like Charles Leclerc did a couple of years ago last season in the Ferrari. And it might be the same thing that Jai did, I'm not sure, but Tim is all the way down the order, and you can see he's got driver company. So it's a nightmare for Tim, because like Dylan, he had to make a pit stop, and now he's at the back of the field already, and he's still got to make a stop.
That's basically going to be his race over. There's no point retiring there. And oh, Yannick's got some front wing damage. Holzheuer in that racing point was doing so well, and it was looking so promising for the racing point team as Kai sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. It was looking so promising, but he's got massive damage on that front wing. Surely he's going to have to pit, because he's going to get swallowed up by Matthias, who's currently in 6th, who's got a gaggle of cars behind him, including Nick Pancras, who looks down the inside. Nick has also got some throwing damage.
That's yeah, big crash there. I mean, Nick Pancras, it looked like it was inevitable there. Shady Records, the other driver involved in that, is out of the race, so a double retirement for McLaren.
Yeah, he hit the wall. That's a shame. We'll have to look into that after the race, but Nick now out of the points. Tim up into 10th, still with a stop to make. Lucas still just clinging on to points of Alfa Romeo. Jai Fletcher slowly coming back through the order, Adam.
Yeah, he is, and it's just staying a bit further in front of him. That's going to be helped, because Matthias went very, very late into the corner, hit the wall, has got no damage, but it's definitely slowed him up, and you can see Fletcher right behind Matthias and Cookie Gamer, who's doing a solid job in Ferrari in 7th place, must be said, so they'll be happy to pick up some extra points, especially fighting at the tail end of this championship.
Of course, as we mentioned earlier, the castle section proving difficult for the drivers. A little bit further forward though, Kai still leads Aaron, who leads Marine, who leads Luke, who leads Yannick. All seems to be quite equal gaps between the drivers, but behind Yannick, as we mentioned, is going to start to get swallowed up. Matthias looks to the inside. That was crazy.
Oh. Well, he was defending there, Alex, and Holzheuer was on the outside, but in fact, although Matthias has got to be and there you go, he's off at the end. He's hit the wall after battling with 2 cars, and that looks like his race is ready. I was going to say he has to be careful about where he puts his car, Holzheuer, and he ended up second best, and Matthias did the exact same thing a corner later. But now Fletcher looking to try and get a move on Cookie Gamer. He's on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side of him, I should say. Should have DRS down the back straight, and it should be a nice, easy overtake.
Look at Lucas there.
Trying to get back of him, but Lucas Spieth also in the Alfa Romeo trying to do a Daniel Ricciardo move a couple of seasons ago, and he's not able to risk it all in that corner there. But great stuff to see. Shame about Matthias and Holzheuer, but really it's a great example, Alex. When you put your car in the wrong position, that's what's going to happen on a street circuit like this. This is unforgiving.
Of course, but look at the Ferraris, 10th and 6th right now. Good points from the constructors we mentioned earlier. Tim's gone down the escape road, big double lock-up for him. His race has gone from bad to worse now as he tried to make a move. Matthias in the pits, followed by Yannick, who's also in the pits. Salim picking up the final points position as of so far. He should get promoted to 9th when Tim pits, who's currently battling with Nick, who also has a lot of damage. So Ferrari could be looking at some very strong points today as Luke is closing up rapidly to Moran for that final podium position.
Yeah, you're right. Luke's single-handedly doing the job for Mercedes in this race at the moment, as his teammate has had a terrible race by contrast after it looked so promising at the start. And he's getting after in third place. It's good to see Aaron and Kai dropping the rest of the field so easily, especially Kai just doing what he needs to do, getting away from the front. Of course, Fletcher now up into 5th position, trying to recover. But this is exactly what Kai needs. He needs to score the big points after missing last week's race if he wants to have a chance to win this race. As Nick Pancras has retired, Alex.
Yeah, the streets of Baku claims another victim. He's gone straight on down the castle chicane, locked up. He's obviously lost his front wing. I'm not sure if there's contact with Tim. They were running really close. That's put Salim up into P8. So Salim picking up places as they come. 6th and 8th currently for the Ferrari team. Things are looking up, and I've just noticed Marine has some front wing damage, which is what is backing him up into Luke, who's also being caught by Jai Fletcher, who's just set the fastest lap of the race. This race isn't over yet.
Well, certainly wouldn't rule out Fletcher recovering a podium at this rate. The way things are going, Marine, as you can see, has got some damage on his front wing, and that really plays havoc. A lot of 90-degree corners, especially in this middle sector, you really need that front end downforce, and even losing something as small as a front left end plate really affects that, especially at the front end. The car just understeers like a shopping trolley on a bad day. And unfortunately for Marine, he's going to have a tall order, especially with the DRS sections at the back straight, to fend off the likes of Luke and Jai. Wouldn't be surprised here if Marine drops down as far as 5th place at the end of this race.
Of course, it's all looking quite close. Matthias retiring from the session now. That's actually a bad move from him, because if he would have just stayed out, finished 11th, he would have got pole for the reverse grid race. That's not going to happen now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was thinking of that or considering that, but he pulled into the pit lane and retired. May live to regret that when he watches this stream back later on, but nonetheless, we've got 10 runners now, so everybody else is in the points. So if you're Tim, it doesn't really matter what you do at this point, you can just have a nice cruise back, and of course he'll be starting at the front of the grid as well. So what if you bear that in mind?
I wonder if he will indeed. Here's Luke though, right on the back of Marine. Marine's really struggling now with that damage. I'm not quite sure where he picked up. It might have been earlier in the race with that incident, which I believe it was with Jai Fletcher, but there goes Luke into the podium position. I believe he got a podium last time out in Austria. He's going to get another one this time. He goes a little bit deep though. I don't think that's going to compromise him too much. Marine quite happy to sit behind. Will he get the second bite of the cherry with the DRS? How much is that front wing really affecting him? It seems quite a lot, and it's very hard to make an overtake into turn number 3 here, Adam.
Yeah, you know, exactly right. Although it's going to give an option to see if you can try and force a mistake from Luke. But I think Marine now, the game plan for him for damage limitation is to try and tuck as close to Luke as he can. Don't lose any space, because Fletcher is right up his gearbox, and if he drops behind him anymore as Luke goes very wide, that's going to unsettle him through the chicane here. It's going to get very tight come the chicane section. You're all going to have to be very careful not to trip over each other, because if you do that here, you're going to be out of the race. As simple as that. So Marine has to stay with Luke and hope that DRS and Slipstream can just pull him along nicely to keep him ahead of Fletcher. But right now, Alex, I'm going to say, as a betting man, I'd be betting on Fletcher to get the podium at this point.
I'm not sure about the podium, because look at Luke's running away from Marine at the moment. At this rate, Marine could drop out of DRS from Jai Fletcher. Oh, Marine's gone into the wall again. So that's even more damage. I saw some end plate come off. That's double front end damage now. He's going to really be struggling, especially through them two final fast corners. Jai is going to take that position much easier than what I and also all expected Adam from the two-time GPRL world champion. But Jai Fletcher now, I believe he's out of DRS from Luke, so he's going to have to push on.
He is for the moment, and that's going to be a bit of a saving grace for Luke, but we know how quick Fletcher is around here. So as long as he gets within DRS, he may have a chance. Marine stays out, so clearly he's going to take the risk and just try and bring the points. Although Fletcher has got a penalty for multiple warnings, 3-second time penalties, so that will help him out big time. I'm just going to have a look at the penalties to see how this all stacks up between them three.
Of course, it could be really close at the end if penalties do or don't play a part. If Mariah can keep it clean, can he stick within 3 seconds, or is he going to drop off? Jai just about wriggling that car within that 1 second radius now of the Mercedes just ahead.
Well, he's really fighting it right now, Alex, and now he knows he has to pass Luke and then try and build up a gap. And with less than 3 laps to go, that's a tall order for even Jai himself, as you mentioned, our VRL F2 champion as well. And it's going to be a tough one for him. I think Luke, obviously, will he know about Fletcher's penalty? I'm not sure if Jefferson, he's gone very wide through there. I'm not sure if that's his line, but it's a very risky one. Gets dirt all up on the tyres, and it's very dirty offline, as most street circuits often are. And as long as he stays within Fletcher's DRS, if he does get overtaken, he should be okay. Mariah literally throwing that Red Bull everywhere. If he's not careful, he's going to be ending up in someone's backyard in a minute.
In the streets of Azerbaijan. But yeah,
bound to be one.
There probably will be around this erotic castle section throughout the hotels and the streets of Baku. But Jai on the back of Luke now. Luke conserving ERS. Jai's really resting on that car around the streets of Baku. He's going to go round the outside of turn number 1. Who's got the balls on the brakes? It looks like it's Jai Fletcher round the outside as Luke gets a big slide there as Marine pulls into the pits. He's going to be pitting for a new front wing. Clearly didn't think it was worth it. That's an interesting call with just 2 laps to go. But yeah, Jai up into third. He's drove a great race so far.
Yeah, very interesting call from Marine there to make that pit stop. I don't think that was really necessary. Really, I think he could have stayed ahead of Cookie Gamer. He was quick enough, but as you said, great move from Fletcher. Of course, that was made a little bit more emphatic by the fact that Luke clearly saw that coming and thought better of it, decided to hold back. So maybe Luke does know that Fletcher has a penalty, or, and this is me playing devil's advocate here, he may be holding behind Fletcher just to stay within DRS, so he knows that he'll be able to get Fletcher on the final lap. We've seen that tactic employed before around here in Baku. It'd be interesting to see if Luke can pull it off, if indeed that is the game plan.
Yeah, remember the drivers can of course talk to their engineer about the penalty situation of the drivers around them, so it's not the most radical suggestion to suggest that Luke knows about the penalty situation of Jai Fletcher, but Fletcher really getting his foot down. He's already pulled out a second on the Mercedes behind, and he's still going. So it's quite a tall order to pull out a further 2 seconds, but it's Jai Fletcher. Don't count anything out as Luke's seemingly struggling around here.
Yeah, he has to put the pressure on Luke to try and make sure he can stick with his pace. But to be honest, if I was Luke at the moment, I'd be at the point where I'd just say, you know what? I know I'm more than quick enough to take my foot off and just relax and be within 2 seconds of Fletcher's pace. And just bring it home. He doesn't need to go chasing Fletcher now, because clearly he's not going to get it done on the road. He just needs to let the penalty do the work for him at this point, and the podium will be his.
Let's talk about Kai. He's well, I don't think I can say enough good things. It's been like echoing of Jai Fletcher at the end of the VRL F2 season here.
Well, he got a good getaway at the start of the race, Alex, and that was really the pivotal moment, because Fletcher got bogged down, caught out on the inside, and well, it really compromised his race and he's had to recover it. As for Kai, got to the front early on, of course, passed Tim and Dylan on the road, didn't wait for strategy to help him out, and just galloped away. But then a special mention to Aaron, again, his PSN name is less than to be pleased with. Nonetheless, he's put in a stellar drive in second place in the Renault. He's clearly ahead of everyone else, and even if he's 6.5 seconds down to Kai, it looks like he's going to bring home the victory for this one. Should be very happy with that performance. I'm sure Renault will be, considering they have no RDAPL gamer for this race.
Of course, it's going to be a nice boost to their championship standings. Obviously they're in the mix with Ardipal Gamer picking up 2 sprint race wins, but Kai, he's done absolutely everything right today. You could argue the start could have been better, dropping down behind Aaron, but he's more than made up for that. Made it work on the track, on the strategy. Pitting on lap 1 was clearly the way to go, and he's more than made it work. Kai Elting is going to cross the line and win the feature race in Baku, the penultimate feature race of the season. Aaron finishes P2 in his debut race, a strong effort from him. Jai Fletcher finishes P3, becomes P4 after that time penalty he picked up. Mike Cookie Gamer, standing in as a reserve for Ferrari, gets their best finish in the feature race this season. Lucas also is going to get his best finish for the Alfa Romeo team. More points for them. He's going to be pleased with them as he runs out of fuel across the line. An unserved penalty may drop him back, but there's a large gap to Marine, who is just ahead of Yannick, and Salim now, who's picked up a little bit of damage on the last lap, which is a shame. He's actually got no front wing. But yeah, what did you make of that race, Adam?
Well, I mean, it's a crazy race. I'm just watching Salim now, and obviously there's one way to shave some weight off that Ferrari, but it's going to definitely compromise his downfall. So I just want to see how he negotiates through this last part. Is he going to give it full beans, or is he going to be reserved? I hope he doesn't do the former. He doesn't. He slows it right down very sensibly. It might only be 2 points, but he'll still be able to bring that home for Ferrari, and it'd be much welcome. Double point scoring for Ferrari, 5th and 9th respectively. I think they'll be very happy with that, given the situation in the Constructors' Championship. Their immediate rivals, Haas, not scoring in this race. And but yeah, looking on the race, Alex, it was a brilliant start from Aaron to get into the front, and obviously Kai went with him. Of course, Jai got caught out, an incident with Marine early on, of course that other incident as well. But what can I say? Excellent job to Kai, the race winner of the feature race.
Of course, here's the podium celebration. We're going to leave you with that before we go into the second race, the reverse grid sprint race.
And of course we've got the interviews with the top 3 just briefly.
Just very briefly as we realign the grid. Just before that though, Adam, can you give us a quick rundown of the provisional top 10 results?
Of course, so to round it off after an exciting feature race, it's KJ Elting, excellent job to win the race for Racing Point, starting on the front row. Aaron, otherwise known as I Drop Your Mum, that's the only time I'm going to be saying that today, hopefully. He brings it home his impressive debut, 2nd in the Renault after a lightning getaway. 3rd place was Luke after penalties for Jai Fletcher, bogged him down after a terrible start, but he recovered to 4th place. Cookie Gamer in 5th position for Ferrari in his debut, impressive stuff from 16th off the grid. Lucas Speed for Alfa Romeo 6th, Marai, not a good race for him in 7th after starting 3rd. Holzheuer in the Racing Point didn't capitalise on his grid position in 8th. Salim 9th for Ferrari, and of course Tim Wenting, the last finish Mercedes, rounding off the top 10.